Henn House BBQ presents Beyond the Smoke.
Welcome to Beyond the Smoke with Henn House BBQ. I'm Phil.
And I'm Johanna.
Today we're kicking things off with the story of how Henn House BBQ got started. From a backyard griller guy to the business we run today. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and get ready for some smoke-filled stories.
How did all this get started, Phil? Talk to us about the story. Talk to me about how everything happened. What happened with was a radio contest, right?
I had entered a recipe in a recipe contest that was on our local radio station and Threshold Farms, and the winner got a smoker. So I had just started a new job at Berkey's Farm Store in Galesburg, your local Case-IH dealership. You know, I'm actually driving down the road at the time, and I see the phone number pop up from the radio station. Everybody knows it, 342-9595. And I'm like, geez, I guess I better answer this. So I pulled over and answered it, and they said, hey, are you available in about 5 minutes? Sure. Yeah, I can do that. So there I sat, and 5 minutes later, Eric Hansen comes on the phone, and they're live, and I'm thinking, oh, geez, I think I won. They wouldn't be calling like number 3 or number 2 guy if they won this thing. So they're talking about the other recipes that they cooked, because they cooked like the top 3 or 4. And so they get to the number 1, and I realize it's mine. And I'm like, oh, geez, I freaking won this thing, and I don't know anything about it.
And I'm sitting at work at the doctor's office that I worked in at the time. I'm in our office, checking on phones, making callbacks, and I hear, we always have FM 95 on the radio because we like country music, and I got lucky there. And I hear him on the radio, and I'm smacking the girl next to me, and I'm saying, Phil won the smoker. I think Phil won this smoker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what started it all.
That's what started the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we still use a smoker today.
She lives.
Use it almost every day.
Had to replace the legs on it because the legs busted off. Everything else still works. The main thing still works.
Everything still works. And it's probably of all the smokers we have, it's probably the one that I put in the least amount of parts of any of the smokers we have.
And it puts out a lot of smoke.
It does. It's better than some of the ones.
It rolls the smoke. It's actually pretty exciting. You want a really good smoke ring on a competition brisket, I would hands down put it on that little Traeger. It was great. Works great. And so this is summer of 2012. We were engaged. We were getting married that fall, in September of that fall. So a whole lot of stuff going on. Not just normal life stuff, but new job stuff, wedding planning stuff. And now all of a sudden, okay, what are we going to do with this smoker? Because you're a griller. You've never smoked anything ever.
Never.
So we get the smoker home. Do you remember what the first thing was that you actually made, or the first thing you did with it, really?
So I'll give you 2 answers to that. The winning recipe was a stuffed pork chop. In talking with Jim Hankus at Thresholds at the time, it was a collab between them and the radio station. He was telling me afterwards about these elaborate days of preparation recipes. And he's just like, we can't do this. This is not feasible.
So they were actually trying to make all of these recipes then?
They made the top 4.
Okay.
They actually grilled them that day.
Okay.
Yep. And yes, they were making the recipes.
So wasn't one of the first things you did, you got home and you're like, was it a pork butt? Was it a big pork shoulder? Like a big pork shoulder?
Yeah, I think it was.
And we're like, oh yeah, we'll throw it on. It'll be done in a few hours, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know. We were clueless.
That was terrible. Terrible, terrible.
I mean, it turned out good. I think it took like all day and all night into the next morning before we could even mess with it.
Yeah. What a great idea. Your first time on a smoker and you're putting this chunk of meat in it that barely fits. We figured it out.
So,
I mean, and I'm completely self-taught. I did a lot of YouTube and internet searches, and, but 2012, that's about all we had to just learn this smoking thing.
Yep. So, I mean, you messed around and of course we had friends at the time who were big into grilling and of course lots of farmers, we had, hog farmers and we had cattle farmers and, just bring us some different things. I remember you did some beef ribs, some pork ribs.
Yep.
The beef ribs were maybe a little rough.
Yeah, much better today.
Um, so all of this stuff we're just trying to figure out. And I think we even eventually entered into a couple competitions,
So what
right?
kind of got us started? We were doing rib competitions,
Mhm.
and we started winning and making other local teams mad because we're here winning with a pellet smoker and not a wood burning
Mm.
stick smoker. And that was kind of fun. Couple heated contests, but that's okay.
No, and it was fun trying to figure out. I think for me, the fun of it was trying to figure out what flavor we really liked the best, and taking combinations of different barbecue sauces, and
Yeah.
knowing that we didn't want just the run of the mill sauce that everybody puts on everything that everybody has in their fridge at home. Like we wanted different things and wanted different flavors, and trying to come up with that. So that was also a process. I think when we went through everything.
Definitely. Our road profile and the barbecue sauce definitely worked together. Some early challenges. Oh boy, early challenges. Where do we want to start there? So, I mean, not only am I learning how to do this on my own, because we really didn't know many people around that really smoked a lot of stuff at the time, was, Joe had started nursing school. This was kind of going to be a side business for us because I was still working 60 hours a week.
And I was still at the doctor's office working, and, then taking, afternoons off for different things here and there, or whole days off, just, depending on the schedule for the week.
But we definitely gained some popularity as we were winning these contests and things. And
Well, and friends and family, brought over bigger and different things for us to cook for them. And they started offering us like, hey, let us pay you for this, for your time and for the supplies you're using.
yeah.
So
So we decided to start Hen House BBQ. And I think as far as the business side of things, struggles were in 2012, there weren't many places to get information locally easily. Just because I'm a farm boy, knowing what I know now, I should have took more business classes when I was younger, but hey, here we are. Just a lot of the business side of things, and still today, the business side of things is a struggle sometimes. Figure it out.
I think I knew we didn't want to get over our head in debt. I wanted to make sure that we could pay for what we needed, still pay all of our bills that we had going on just from life, and be able to eventually pay ourselves back and have this business be able to sustain itself on whatever level that may look like, whatever that was going to be, but just to not be dependent on us to make money to support it. So we wanted it to actually be self-sustaining. And so that was tough, trying to find stuff that we could buy cheaply and fix up, or just whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
So friend labor, family labor, that was huge in the beginning.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of both sides of the family coming in to help. So it was all tough.
So that's like 2014. We're still learning proper food amounts that people will actually eat versus not eat, to different demographics of people and how much they eat. Weddings turn into a eating contest sometimes. But if you're catering grandma's 80th birthday party,
Yeah.
they don't eat as much. So
As, a group of farmers, or, college athletes, or, depending on what you're doing. I feel like for me, it was figuring out, what do we want this to look like? Like, what do we want our reputation to be? And how do we want to present ourselves to the public? Do we just want to be another neighborhood backyard smoker business that just happens to do this on the side, or do we want to present ourselves as a professional front where this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it the right way? So, and I think that was always the direction that I leaned more towards. I waited tables through the end of high school all the way through college, and I just at several different places, and I felt like if we're going to do this, I really want to put our best foot forward and be that upscale. Like, yes, we still want to be the friendly neighborhood barbecue smokers, but at the same time, I want it to be a little more upscale and still professional, and know that people can actually trust us. So that was kind of for me in that part of things, trying to figure out where we wanted to go with it. So we hit mid-year 2014 into 2015, and we start looking at the different jobs that we have. I'm still in nursing school. I was in nursing school 2014 to 2016 and trying to figure out, how do I balance being up at, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to clinicals all day and coming home to help you when you've been at work all day and up early. And we have, meat on the smoker to try and figure out, and with like 4 or 5 different spice blends to try and figure out what we liked the best and, what friends wanted to try and make sure that we had it delivered on time. And it was rough,
It was
especially during
rough.
harvest for you.
Yes. So many days of working all day and cooking most of the night, and Joe was delivering during the day, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Came a long ways from that.
Yep. For sure. For sure.
Oh, so in 2015, January 1st, 2015, we actually launched our own barbecue sauce in grocery stores. At the time, it was Sweet and Sweet Heat. Sweet Heat is now called Bold. Same recipe. That was another one of, from the rib contest, winning People's Choice and the contest. Everybody's like, man, you need to put this in grocery stores so people can buy it. And at the time, I'm like, well, that sounds pretty cool. We worked with a local company out of Pekin to develop our recipe in bulk.
So let's talk about what it actually took to do that though. So we go from making it in our kitchen in, gallon batches at a time,
Yep.
if that. If that. And I literally stand over the stove and I, put stuff in. Of course, we're not selling it. We're just like people wanted it. We're giving it away so people can try it. And people said, "Oh yeah, this is great." But now we come to this place didn't do sauces, right? They
They did sauces. They just did it a little different.
Yeah.
Did it with dry ingredients. Um,
So not only that, but going from a gallon to a minimum order, which was what,
yeah,
150 gallons?
50 gallon.
Yeah, it was a lot,
Yeah. I mean, you're not just whatever number I gave them for a quantity, they're not taking it times 150. That's for sure.
right?
Everything was different. It was a process of about 8 months.
Back and forth.
Back and forth. They'd make a sample, send it to us. Nope, it needs this. Nope, it needs that.
Yeah.
Um, that was a lot, and it was about a month in between
Each round.
each round.
hmm
And finally, at 8 months, we're like, it's as close as we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
We got to get this thing out. It's
Yeah.
close. Because by the time we got to that point, any adjustment that we made changed it so much that it wasn't any closer than what it was. So we were actually getting further away. So locked it in. And for better, for worse, like, here you go. Here it is. Let's see what happens. And thankfully, our community and family and friends were amazing. And they bought it and they shared it with their friends who shared it with their friends. And it did really well. It was good.
It did very, very
Yeah.
well. So when we first started with barbecue sauce, we were probably in 15 stores.
Yeah. Something. Yeah.
And remember, we're still cooking quite a bit, and I'm still working 60 hours a week.
Yep.
She's still going to clinicals every day. The sauce just turned into an animal.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Because it's up to you to make sure your product is stocked and they are out and whatever.
So I'm literally on my days off afternoons, I'm coming in and I have a list literally of about 8 or 10 different places that I'm calling every single week. Sometimes I would save 2 or 3 a day and just go throughout the week to make sure that I had notes written down about everything. How much sauce do you have left? How much more do you need? Do you have any other places, that we should be putting it? Anything that where anywhere else it would sell better. And so it was again, it was a lot. It was a lot of sticky notes. What we talked about with Lucas before. So many sticky notes and so many notes everywhere. It was so difficult to keep track of. So again, kudos to Lucas and A1 Strategic again for helping us keep all that straight because it was not easy. So yeah, I mean it was rough. I mean that 2014 to 2016, it was crazy, but the sauce kept going really well.
So September 2016, we purchased the house and 4 acres that we're living on now. The business at the time didn't have a lot of debt to it. We had been paid ourselves back, and it was pretty self-sufficient by then. I remember it was the winter of 2017, like January, something like that, January, February. And I'm turning down catering jobs that paid more in a day than I made in a week. And, I'm just like, sorry, we can't. And that's just what it was. I'm sorry, we can't. Sorry, we can't. And finally, I'm like, maybe we can.
And at that point, I'd gotten my full-time job. I graduated nursing school. I had a full-time job working in the ER. I was solid. We were good there.
So for our other self-employed friends, she was the health insurance.
Yes, I was for quite a while.
No, anything else there?
Yeah, your jump video.
Let's see. So we bought this in 16, thinking about going full-time in 17. So really, because, it's just eating at me. I'm at work every day at a job that I did not hate. I enjoyed my job. I liked the people I work with.
And you were good at it.
Still talking. Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I was missed. I know that. I was missed when I left. So it just keeps eating at me like, you need to try this. And, it's going to make me cry. I, plain as day, standing in the back room at work, and I don't know how or why at that time, I saw a Steve Harvey video talking about jumping. And you'd think after 11 years it would get easier. So, he's talking about jumping off a cliff and how your parachute will eventually open. But first, you're going to bounce off the rocks and you're going to get tore up a little bit. And we were right there at that point.
But that everybody has a purpose in life, that God has given every single one of us gifts, special gifts that only we are good. Like, it's our thing. I felt like I had found my place in nursing at the time, and I was seeing you, again, kind of beating yourself up, trying to say, having to say no to some of these offers and enjoying what you were doing and knowing you were good at it. God, why waste these gifts? God doesn't want us to waste our gift.
Yeah, who knew running a barbecue business was my gift? But it definitely has been blessed many times over. So I will say this: anybody that is at that point in your life where you just don't know, listen to the signs.
Yep.
They're there. And watch that video. It's a Steve Harvey jump video he recorded after a show of Family Feud. It's got the one I watched had the little ticker time at the bottom. That's my favorite version that I've seen of.
It's a longer one too,
It's a longer one. Yeah. It's like 6 minutes or so.
So you came home and we had this conversation, and I said, well, I'm employed. Like, my job's not going anywhere. But we have insurance. I can be our insurance. We don't have to worry about that. We can make it off of my salary for a while if we need to. If this doesn't work out, well.
Yeah. I'll find something else.
But I said, I told him, I said, I don't want you to look back in 10 years and say, man, I really wish I would have done that. Like, what if I just would have tried it for 5 minutes? What if I tried it? And I said, I don't want you to look back and feel cheated. I said, so go for it. I said, what are we out? What's it going to hurt? And that was 11 years ago.
Definitely takes a support person or support. Definitely takes support like that to push you through this. So it was probably March. So I grew up on a farm, obviously. Working in the ag industry, spring's pretty busy in a place like that. So I told them it was probably late February, early March, that I would get them through planting season, basically through May, and June 1st, I was done. Everyone supported me 110%. There were no issues there. Customers, I think, still miss me, but that's okay.
But these are people that, you guys spent a lot of time together. During planting, during harvest, they saw you more than I saw you.
Yeah.
Sure.
For sure.
They weren't just coworkers. They were friends, and they still are friends to this day. We've got some amazing friends and lasting relationships there for sure. So we did it.
Yeah. So June 1st, I walked out and I actually cried the whole way out the door. Because again, I was leaving a job that I didn't hate, and I'm walking away from a paycheck, and that's probably what was eating at me the most. Was, am I doing the right thing? Because I could just put us in the poorhouse. We just bought this house, and it was crazy.
And the other thing that we were thinking about looking at this house, this house is just The house itself is not huge, but it sits on 4 acres and it's right at the edge of town. We look over, open field, and there's a creek not far away that we can see. And it's got this gorgeous tree line in the back. And what did you tell me that you thought about doing with it? And I told you you were crazy.
I wanted to build a wedding venue back there.
Yeah. Keep in mind, it wasn't zoned for any of this. Well, we quickly found out zoning laws there was a lot more to deal with zoning laws than we ever realized, and we had to be careful. And we realized that the first time it rained really, really hard, we had a river that ran all the way through our backyard because all of the water from the whole south end of the town drains through a couple of drainage areas in our backyard, and they were clogged. So that wasn't going to work. So that was a God thing. That was a God thing. So then we started looking at, we had been up to this point, obviously we became an official business in 2014. I think we kind of skipped over that, but we became a legal business in 2014. We were using commercial kitchens. We were using commercial storage units, all the things, we were in it to win it. And in this point in time, we were renting all this space. Thankfully, we had a lot of great people that were close by. We were able to rent kitchen space from one of the local churches here in town, but that also meant bringing our items back and forth the whole time, to make sure that when we were doing these weddings that we were legitimate, but we knew that couldn't last forever either. We were getting bigger and booking more jobs and more weddings, and it just wasn't feasible with the church's schedule either. They were wonderful, but ultimately it was our choice, and we said, let's look into putting up a building of our own. Is this feasible? What do we need to do?
Yeah. So we put the building up in 2018, but I'll back up a minute. So when I went full time in 2017, right in the same time frame, we had purchased a used old uniform truck, and we retrofitted the inside as a food truck. Just did it ourselves. Again, learned as you went, and used your farm boy stuff, and away we went. And because I knew our weekends, and this is still true today, our weekends were packed, but we needed something more during the week. So the thought was the food truck would let us, be out and about a few more times during the week.
Taking the food to the people instead of just relying on them to come to us. Yep.
So we built a building in 2018. It's got a 20 by 24 commercial kitchen in it. Then it's storage as well as a catering van, and the food trailer fits in there as well. So it was a 48 by 48 building, and could have been double that, but oh well.
That came with its own set of challenges, and
oh my gosh, we were so over budget.
building designs. And
anybody that's doing something like that, when you get your budget, just throw it away, because you're gonna blow past that, no problem.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
I think one thing that we learned very quickly, and I'm glad that we did, I feel like health departments in a lot of places get a bad rap. They're just doing their job. Contact your local health department. It's so much easier to go to them and say, here's what I'm looking at doing. What do I have to have? Where does everything have to be proximity wise to one another? What can I do, and how can I lay this out? Or here's the layout we're looking at. How do we need to change it and alter it to make sure that we're in a good place with you guys? And they were great. They were absolutely wonderful.
And that is actually part of the process when you're in a food business, building a new building or laying out a new space, is you have to have a plan with the health department of a sketch layout of your kitchen and equipment you're going to have and all the things. And then they'll kind of tell you, what sinks need air gaps and all that fun stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, and zoning. We did go to the zoning board. I had to go in front of the zoning board, propose our building plans. This is what we have going, how it would impact just our ground around it, and if it would impact water flowage or, just environmental stuff, which thankfully it didn't. It was already on high ground.
Too.
Yeah, it was already on high ground. That we weren't going to be tearing up any roads or streets, and it was just, making sure that, again, we were within proper zoning laws for the building that we were putting up. So, thankfully, no big deal. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We're at 2018. I'm rolling full time. What do you think? Where do you want to go now?
I feel like that's a lot of the major behind the scenes. I feel like it was just that journey of trying to figure out, are we actually going to do this or not? And then when we did, okay, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it right. And we're all in. So Phil is legitimately all in, trying to talking to everybody that he can. Of course, then it's do we need to advertise? Do we, is it word of mouth? Do we need to get business cards made? Do we, all the other things? What's our menu going to look like? How do we get that across to people? And I think that was again another learning curve. We knew most of the time, the basics, your pulled pork, your brisket, your chicken, baked beans, those are the staples. But I think it quickly became, what else are we going to have? If we're offering this for weddings. And one of the things that I feel does make us special and very unique, you are not limited to, okay, you get 2 meats, you get 3 sides, you're done. That's it. No desserts, no this, no alterations. We let you look at our menu. You order anything off that menu in any combination that you want. And as long as your budget will support it, that's what we're going to make. I mean, that's plain and simple. It's one price, period.
Yep.
And that's pretty uncommon in the catering world, I feel like.
It is. Oh, that pretty much brings us to 2020. We were on a pretty good roll. Things are going pretty well.
The building is up, it's functional, everything is
Yeah.
we're rolling.
Building been up for
Yep.
almost 2 years.
Yep.
Everything is pretty cool. And then COVID hit. That was a learning experience. Honestly, I would go back to those prices today, as I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
most of our customers would.
For sure.
Our building was not set up for like drive-through or
No.
pickup, anything like that. It was never a design thought, but we made it work. Yeah, we did have a window facing our little parking area.
Yep.
And that's what we served out of through the pandemic.
Yeah, we had everything, set up in a little assembly line on the tables in the middle. And as people would
Yeah.
come up, we kind of knew they ordered. Did we have them order ahead of time?
Probably
then?
not.
I couldn't
Probably
remember.
not this.
But they would come up, they would say, yep, I need, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 meals. And thankfully at that time we had a couple people that would come when we needed them to help prep if if we needed it, and get everything prepped and ready to go. Separate meal boxes. We were, of course had to be masked up and gloves and all the things and all the extra things just to make sure. And everything was, of course, pre-packed, separate sauce cups so that everything was clean. Pop it together and out the door it went. And thankfully people responded. The community really did. They came out and supported us very well.
Yep.
And it was,
I had several pickup
Yeah.
nights that went very, very well.
yeah.
Very well.
And it wasn't a banner year for anybody, but all the bills got paid. And to cushion the blow for some of those weddings that we had scheduled that year, there was a lot of weddings that didn't happen or happened at half or a third or less of the numbers that they had planned on having. For the ones that canceled, it was rough.
It was. And me being me, the ones that did still continue with the 50 guests or whatever it was at the time that
Instead
they could
of
have,
250.
that, that's a pretty big difference in food costs and prep, but it's also a pretty big difference in income too. So really, as your guest list gets smaller, your price per person needs to go up to offset that. Well, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It wasn't their
Yeah.
fault
Yeah.
that this
Wasn't
was
anybody's
going
fault.
on. Whatever their price per person was, that's what we left it at for the 50 people. We lost money
Yep.
or broke even on everything we did for the rest of 2020.
And for the ones that already paid, deposits, but their weddings never happened, we either gave them the option. Some of them we did give a full refund, and we don't do that.
Most
But-
caterers don't do
Yeah. But it wasn't their fault. It wasn't anybody's fault, and we couldn't see ourselves taking money from somebody in that way. It just didn't seem right. So, or we would allow them. We said, yep, we're going to hold, yes, we're hanging on to your money. If you still want to do an event with us in the future, even if it's something else, we're going to take all that money and we're going to put that and mark that as a deposit, as a down payment towards your next event, regardless of how long away it is, how far away it is. So I think that helped too, just to keep our business in the back of people's minds and help keep them familiar with us, and maybe hopefully give us a little better reputation. So I think that helped.
So we kind of got through COVID, and we're kind of picking back up. It'd been like 2023. Our business doubled. from the year before, which was awesome. That was exciting. We had a few people helping us pretty regularly. That was fun. Then in 2024, we doubled again. And just it was a new learning curve for me, just getting to that capacity of all the things, just on the business side of things to the food side of things. It was a lot to figure out, but it's worked out. Now we have 10 employees and a great crew, and we don't have to go to 100% of the events that we have.
It's makes life a whole lot easier when you know that you have people that you can say, here's what we have, here's the list, here's the items, here's what you need, and know that it's done. And
Absolutely.
we literally can, not on everything, and we're not going to leave them with the huge events to just sink or swim, but on the normal day-to-day stuff that we can walk away and say, yep, they got it, no problem, and know that it's going to be done the way that we expect it to be done and the way that it should be done. So that helps.
Yeah.
I do want to pause and interject one thing. So 2022 wintertime, the business was picking up. He had talked about, getting up to in between 22 and 23, things were really picking up. He was needing more help than what I could provide while I was still working full time. But I was struggling. The ER is a rough place to work. Trauma medicine, emergency medicine is amazing, but it's tough. And I had reached a point in my life, just personal life and mental health wise, that I wasn't in a great place. COVID sucked all the way around for a lot of things, and it had really taken a toll. And just the way things were trending in the emergency department and just medicine in general was rough. And I decided at that point that it was probably a good time for me to step away, but I didn't know what else I was supposed to do, because that was my plan for my life. And what am I supposed to do if I'm not nursing? So we sat down and talked and decided that, I would be better served helping you try and figure out the day to day and manage timelines and people and events if I could be here more often. So on a snowmobile trip in the winter of 2022 into 23, I made the decision to step away from nursing and go Henn House full time, and haven't looked back since. So
There went our health insurance.
we got to figure it out.
So something that makes us different than your 95% of your barbecue places is our pulled pork. Everybody loves our pulled pork, I think. At least they say they do. Ours is different. The go-to is either a Boston butt, pork shoulder, something like that to make pulled pork out of. I didn't like the amount of loss. It's to me similar to brisket. You lose about 50% of your weight that you from purchase to cook weight. So I just like, man, there's got to be something else. So we started playing with making pulled pork out of pork loin, and it was quite a learning process because it's very, very lean. There's not a lot of fat,
and it's real easy to get dried out and tough, and just it doesn't have the same texture.
Yeah.
At least it didn't until we finally figured it out.
Took a lot of steps and got it figured out, and nothing's changed today from probably 10 years ago.
What do you think for you? What's the most rewarding part? I mean, I think I know your answer, but
most people know my answer.
But yeah, what's the rewarding part for you?
I'm the creepy cooker guy watching you eat your food, seeing if you are talking good or talking bad or smiling or spitting it out or what. I enjoy watching people enjoying our food. That's my high. I enjoy it. Enjoy the job for the most part, but I think that's one of my most rewarding parts. One of my most favorite events we get to do is the Knox County Fair, feeding the artists at the country concert on Thursday nights. We have met a lot of new friends through that, a lot of famous people through that, and most of them were just like you and me, super cool, down to earth, really great time.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear their perspective because they get food literally from across the country. So it's always nice to hear their opinions and thoughts on, wow, this is different, or yes, this is the same, or, man, it's a lot of I feel like a lot of the comments that we get are, man, it's so great not to have the same thing over and over again. He's like, it's really nice to have something that tastes like home. And so I feel like that's a really big compliment coming from these people who get to try a whole lot of barbecue, especially.
Mhm.
And I feel like, especially for us being, Midwest Illinois, these people from Nashville or Texas or, wherever
Yeah.
they're from, that's a pretty big compliment.
Several from
So,
Texas are
yeah,
like, This
yeah.
is it. This is
Having
Texas barbecue."
having
That's
brisket that tastes like home
Yeah.
is a pretty big kudos. So that's always
Heck
pretty
yeah.
exciting. Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite part, has just been to see you get better and gain
Mm.
confidence and tweak your craft and say, yep, nope. At one bite, you can say yes or no, or what does this need? Or,
Yeah.
nope, it needs more time. And I don't know. It's cool to see you stand up and for me to watch you from the sidelines watching other
Mhm.
people. So I'm
Yeah.
the creeper watching the creeper, I guess.
So if you see us at your restaurant,
Yeah.
we're critiquing. I'm sorry, but we are. We're talking between ourselves like, "Ooh, this is good," or "Ooh, this isn't good," or "I'd have done this," or "I'd have done that." So
He
it's okay.
is. He
Yeah.
is. I telling him, like, just enjoy the dinner. Let's just sit down and enjoy dinner, please. Just once.
Maybe someday.
So what's coming up next?
Mm.
What's the next big things on the horizon? What's the future?
Stay afloat.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, prices are up, costs are up.
Costs are up,
Yeah.
overheads up. It's really just managing the business to make the best it can be and still be profitable and still book the catering jobs we need
Yep.
to keep it going.
Absolutely. Always looking for different venues to try out catering, event catering, but business catering during the week. We've done a lot with schools, different high schools for teacher appreciation weeks, nurses appreciation week, all that fun stuff is always nice. So if you think about us, we can do bulk orders, we can do drop-offs for big days or big events. So that's think of us and we'll be happy to help you out. We'll schedule a phone call with Phil and he will walk you through the whole process and hopefully make it as simple and painless as possible on you guys. So we
Everybody
definitely
says our
appreciate it.
process is really simple and
Yeah.
it's too easy to say yes. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see what the
there's
future
no
holds.
expansion plans really.
Yeah.
We kind of did that last year. We bought a new humongous smoker
Walk-in cooler.
and a walk-in cooler. So we definitely expanded
Yeah.
last year. We'll take any customer feedback. Leave us a Google review and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Again, we do weddings, parties, big events, small events, birthday parties, you name it. We can probably help cater for it. Baby showers. We've done a lot of baby showers, folks. Who doesn't like a good barbecue for a baby shower, right? Yep.
So we do large events too. Now I'm not
Mhm.
talking 100 people large. Our record is 1,600 people in one day fed at
Mhm.
one business.
Yep.
That was awesome. You want to talk about planning?
Oh gosh.
That was
That was a lot of sheets of paper.
yeah. That was clear down to how many pans
Yep.
are we going to need? Do we have enough pans to even do this type of thing?
And which pans will fit in which Cambros, which hot
Yeah.
boxes, and which vehicle they're all gonna go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I bought all the 6-inch deep pans because we typically use 4-inch pans. That fits well and goes
Mhm.
far enough during an event that they're okay.
Yeah.
And I remember we loaded up.
Not
I
when you're
mean, our
feeding
6-inch pans were like 50 pounds a piece.
Yeah, because the main meal was for, like, 1,100 people. That first shift.
The first shift,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was 1,100. And
Mhm.
then after that, so that was the big deal. We had, like, what, like, I think 15 or 16 things of baked beans that we were cooking, and we had them all on the different smokers, like, it was a
Oh
bunch.
yeah,
It
it
was a
was a
bunch,
bunch.
and they were all the 6-inch deep pans, so they're
It,
heavy.
I mean, and I guess I'll kind of toot my own horn here a little bit. It's feeding a group of that. I mean, we're booked for 2 500-person events coming up in December
Mhm.
as well. Not every caterer is capable of doing that. It's just some of it is they just don't have the space,
Yeah,
the available kitchen space to do it. And
for sure.
I get it.
Yeah, but a lot
Um,
of it's planning. It's
it's
just planning ahead. I mean, we'll plan for weeks for
yeah,
this event in between other events that we're already doing. We will sit down and say, "Okay, you know, and going through some of the checklists that we've made, thankfully with extra help, and, having done several big weddings. We've done weddings of 450 people before, and that helped. I think that helped just kind of set the stage to prepare us for doing that, 1,100 and then, the full 1,600 for the whole day. Because it wasn't like we could cook those separately. We had to do everything. We could start some things a little delayed and a little offset, but we still had to have everything on at some point all together, everything on the smokers and in the ovens and ready to go. And so it was a very large, very well choreographed, organized chaos, but we planned for at least 2 weeks of down to who was going to go where and which pans were going to go where. And it was a very organized, choreographed chaos, but it went great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and we definitely do it again. That's that's just kind of how we do things. If there for some reason is an issue, most time they don't even know about it. We just do our thing.
It's nothing that affects the customer. It's just on our end, so no problem. Well, and I feel like that's one thing we are growing accustomed to. That's one of the things that helps us to do the 3 weddings on a Saturday, the 300 person weddings on one single Saturday is that same mindset. Here's the planning process, and here's what that takes to get it done. And that it's very doable for us now. We had 9 Saturdays this season, this year, where we had 3 weddings on the same Saturday. And we may have had a rehearsal dinner on a Friday night and maybe even have another wedding on a Sunday. But it's planned and it's doable. So
for sure.
Give us a shout out, big or small, we'll get it all.
That was good. That was good.
Maybe.
Hire her. Yeah. When we bought our first catering van, man, we were like, this is freaking sweet. No more throwing stuff in the Tahoe and
climbing in and out of the Tahoe.
And spilling baked beans in your Tahoe.
Oh, gosh.
Yep, been there.
Those don't come out.
It was bad. I was in trouble. Yep. Today we run 3 vans. We still have the original van. She's just kind of she's our number 3. She's kind of our third to go. And our other 2 are taller vans that we can actually stand up in and work out of. And that's really been a game changer for us.
Well, and I think it just gives us more flexibility. We can go more places. We can do events that maybe some people can't, because we have that workspace that's already on our own. It's contained. We're self-sustained, and we can come, set up, clean up, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our wedding venue barns, per se, don't have a kitchen space at all to work out of. So.
The ones that are truly barns, they usually don't. Yeah. They might have a place to land, but they don't have an area that's big enough to really prepare anything before it goes out. So that makes a big difference too, having that counter space. Actually, in the vans, we had them built in. We collaborated with another local business, Alexis Fire Equipment in Alexis, Illinois, and they built and outfit fire trucks. And so they are used to working with heavy duty everything. So we went and took our ideas to them and said, this is what we want. We want shelves. We want pull-out shelves that pull all the way out that can hold, 1,000 pounds of food, or maybe not that much, but pretty close, on one shelf, pulled all the way out, full extension. And then we want other shelves that we can fold down as we need to set more stuff on, or use as a countertop if we need to. And they hooked us up. They were great. So also shout out to Alexis Fire Equipment in Alexis, Illinois. We very much appreciate that. Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to our story. We hope it inspired you to always chase your dreams and don't overlook the small beginnings. Sometimes it's a single moment that changes everything.
Yeah. Hit subscribe, share the podcast with a friend. Join us on the next episode when we debate one of barbecue's biggest controversies.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler alert.
Pork shoulder versus pork loin. Which is better?
Oh, yeah. That's what I think about that.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Reach out to us anytime at hennhousebarbecue.com.